Let's go. Díobh chuirde fáil thurnais agus this video hopefully is going to be a quick video. I know I've just discovered that apparently I can't make a video shorter than 30 minutes, but I'm going to give it a shot because I really don't have that much to talk about. This is going to be my fourth introductory video to the topics that I'm going to be discussing in the future. My second video about dialects. So this stems off from my very last one. Now that you know which dialects used to exist and what dialect group each living Gaeltacht belongs to, I want to just quickly talk about how different can each dialect be from each other, right? Not surprisingly, it can be quite a lot, right? So I've come up with two ways. First, just talking about language learning in general, what to look out for, and then I've come up with a little structure system, which I'll explain second, to explain the different levels, what level of difference of words you might find between the dialects. It sounds complicated, it's really not. So this first comment is going to be very quick. When I started thinking about teaching Irish or hosting Irish lessons or making videos, whatever, I wrote down a list of 8 things to look out for. It's good for learning a language in general, but this was specific to Irish. So first was reading and pronunciation, right? That's my number one most important thing, obviously, because I spoke for 80 minutes about it. Reading and pronunciation obviously is number one. It's most important. If you can't read and you can't pronounce, you can't speak. Second was about learning vocab. Third was about learning sentence structure, which obviously in Irish is very, very different to other European languages. Fourth, specific to Irish again, mutations and how prepositions work. They go hand in hand. Fifth was learning how to describe things. So adjectives, numbers, adverbs, and describing locations of things. Sixth was about pronouns and how nouns work and possession. They all kind of are interlinked. And seventh was about verbs and conjugation and how to express moods, and also about the copula. These are all words you don't have to worry about now. I'm going to make videos about all of these things. And last was learning how to construct phrases properly, how to translate phrases with proper native intuition, right? So you don't have to remember all of that. My point with that list of breaking down learning Irish was, as soon as I finished the list and I understood what sections of the language there were to learn, my first question to myself was, I really wonder which of these features are the exact same when you compare the dialects and which can be quite different. And I went through them, and not surprisingly, all of them. So reading and pronunciation, absolutely. Depending on which dialect you speak, things can be spelt differently, and absolutely things can be pronounced differently. That's the main thing. Vocab, absolutely. There are many, many words that are used in one dialect that aren't used in others. Sentence structure. Now, this one doesn't really change that much, but it might vary slightly, right? Just depending. Mutations and prepositions, absolutely. Standard Irish mutations are hard to learn by themselves, but yeah, some prepositions work differently in different dialects. Some dialects don't have certain prepositions, and some have preference towards others. I'm not going to give an example. It's just too complicated. But yeah, absolutely, mutations can be different depending on what dialect you speak. Describing things. Now, adjectives don't really change. The way adverbs work don't really change. The way you describe locations of things doesn't really change. But absolutely, numbers do. Especially, I found in Waterford. Waterford numbers are really interesting. Apparently, they're quite different to other dialects. So yes, definitely, the way you count can change. Isn't that just mental? It's like there's 3 different languages in one. Pronouns, nouns, and possession. Now, there's nothing really different about gender. There's nothing really different about possession. But pronouns, absolutely. Dialects can use different pronouns. It's not majorly, but they have preferences towards certain words for certain pronouns. Verbs and conjugation. Absolutely. Conjugation can be different in from one dialect to another, especially in Munster. Munster conjugation is quite old. They have a tendency to be more conservative with their conjugation, whereas Ulster is known for being conservative with its pronunciation. And then, last not least, phrases. No, it's kind of hard to comment on, but obviously different dialects use different phrases more than others, and they have a different way of expressing themselves. So yeah, my point was, everything that you could possibly learn in Irish on some level can be different. Now, specifically about pronunciation and speech, I have another model explaining what can be different. So, I came up with 4 levels of difference when it comes to words and how they can be pronounced differently between the dialects. So this is what I find a lot of teachers don't talk about dialects at all. But if they do, this sort of topic, this sort of way of explaining how dialects can be different, this is discussed quite a lot. I mean, most of them will touch on it, but they won't really go in detail. Anyway, so this might be a little bit hard to imagine, but bear with me. So the first level of difference that any dialect can have when compared to another is on the phoneme level, right? So obviously you're going to ask, what's a phoneme? Don't worry about it. It's not that difficult. A phoneme is basically a sound. I'm not going to confuse you. A phoneme is basically a sound. So I have 2 examples. We'll take slender T, right? A T that's written beside an I or an E. Slender T is a great example because it's different in Munster versus Connacht versus Ulster. So you can kind of imagine it like this. The further north you go, the further behind the teeth you place the tip of your tongue to pronounce a slender T, right? So in Munster, you get something like T or T. In Connacht, you get something like T with a very strong glide, Y, T. And then in Ulster, it's even stronger and even further back. T, 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 which can often sound like the English ch sound. It's completely different from the English ch sound. It's just a very, very strong, slender glide. T, right? And this is the first level because the point is slender T in Ulster dialects will always be pronounced as ch. In Connacht, it will always be pronounced as t, and in Munster, it will always be pronounced as t. And that's just true. Another close example is broad BH or B shave. This is just an example where Munster is the odd one out. So in Connacht and Ulster, and this is less strict than talking about slender T, but this is a majority of the time broad BH in Ulster and Connacht is pronounced as w, pretty much an English W, and in Munster majority of the time it's pronounced as w or v. Oh no, sorry, we're talking about broad BH. Yes, in Munster most of the time it's pronounced as w. So moving on, the second level of pronouncing things differently between dialects is specific spellings that are pronounced differently. So this isn't, unlike level 1, which is a sound that will be pronounced differently across the board. These are specific spellings that will change in specific situations. So my go-to example is slender DH or slender GH, which are pronounced the same. In every dialect, by default, slender DH or slender GH is pronounced as y, or if you like, a more native sound, y, which is just putting your tongue closer to the roof of your mouth. That's true for Ulster, Connacht, and Munster. Generally, slender DH or slender GH will be pronounced as y, right? Except in Munster, if a word ends in IDH or IGH, it isn't pronounced with a y sound, it's pronounced actually with a g, right, which is the same sound as a slender G. And if you're reading something that has really, really strict dialect spelling, so some authors will try and change their the way they spell words to be closer to the way they would pronounce them, you'll find that Munster authors sometimes will spell words that usually end with an IDH or an IGH with a G. This is what gives us the difference between the Connacht and Ulster pronunciation of this word and the Munster pronunciation of it, which is, so in Connacht they'd say something like I, in Ulster they say something like I think, and in Munster it's completely different. Obviously it ends in an IDH, so it's pronounced I. Same thing with this word, the word to buy or to purchase. In Connacht and Ulster you find something like canny, and in Munster it's very clearly canly. Yeah, so I hope you understand that. There's plenty of examples, right, where not specific sounds but specific spellings in specific contexts are different between the dialects, right? So that's level 2. I'm not going to give any other examples because I will literally yap all day long. So we're going on to number 3. Now, level 3 and level 4 are the ones that teachers like to talk about the most because they're the easiest to digest, right? So level 3 is similar words, right, that are clearly related but just spelled slightly differently or pronounced slightly differently. Now, this isn't down to a pronunciation rule. This isn't down to like a level 2 thing where it's specifically like, a specific group of letters is pronounced differently. This is just the way words were adopted differently into the different dialects, right? So, go-to example, everybody loves to talk about this. Going in order of Munster, Connacht, Ulster, we have the word for dog, madra, madda, and madu. You see, it's really easy to say this. It's really easy to just go, oh yeah, here's a good difference between the dialects, and I can go on. A really important one is the name for the Irish language. Munster, Connacht, Ulster, you get Gaeling, Gaeilge, and Gaelic. And third example, just to drive the point home, Munster, Connacht, Ulster, the word for potato, an absolutely very important word. You get prata, fata, and psheta. And interestingly enough, that word psheta was adopted into English, Irish English, as the word praties, just a word for potatoes. Funnily enough, while I was making sure that I had these words correct, I found a funny phrase on a website. I can't remember what the website was called because I just wrote it down really quickly. But it's about potatoes, and it's about the way dialects have different words. So if I have this correct, Vech na fati, nitje, britje, agus itje, ag ganachtach, sulamech, prate, rate, ag aminach. So, breaking that down, Vech na fati, nitje, britje, agus itje, ag ganachtach, the Connacht man, the potatoes will be washed, burned, and eaten by the Connacht man. Sulamech prate, rate, ag aminach, before the Munster man has even said the word potato. So there you go. It's kind of a dig at Connacht speakers, but moving on to the last level, level 4. So it doesn't have to be in any specific order. I could have done it the other way around, 4, 3, 2, 1. I just wanted to get this out there in case I have to reference it in the future. So level 4 is when dialects use completely different words, right? You can tell for the last ones, obviously you can tell madra, madda, and madu. They come from the same idea. It's not just a coincidence that the word for dog sounds so similar. Gaeling, Gaeilge, and Gaelic obviously is in reference to the Gael, which is Irish people, Gaelic people. You can tell level 3 words are related to each other. With level 4 words, they're completely different, right? So in a past video, I'm pretty sure I mentioned the 3 words for soap. Munster, Connacht, Ulster, you get galúnach, galéitach, and sopa, which are obviously completely different. I tried to get some other examples. It's not extremely common, but you might find it. So in Ulster, and I believe Mayo, the word for we is more likely to be muid or mudge than in Munster, where they would use shin or shing. Another example that hit me the other day. This is a warning to pay attention to how things are spelled. So there's this great podcast on Spotify called Speaking Irish, right? And I was using it for a few months, but I'm trying to learn Munster Irish, and your man has really, really thick Ulster Irish, right? Which is obviously too far away, completely different. But it's really great if you're learning Ulster Irish. It's the go-to. It's my go-to recommended source. Literally, it's so good. If I have the chance, I'm going to do something similar for Munster Irish in the future, because literally there's no pressure. He doesn't talk about spelling. He doesn't try correct your pronunciation strictly. He literally just says sentences, simple sentences, and builds up your vocabulary, and you repeat them out loud when the video is paused. Super simple, and literally it's as if you're drinking vocabulary. You get so much. And he said in his Ulster pronunciation, the word for going, as in going somewhere, was egol. And I was familiar with the more common phrase in the other dialects, egdol, right? And I thought there was something weird going on where the broad D was replaced with a broad G, or I don't know. I was like, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. And I saw it written down the other day. It's completely not dull. It's not related to the verb te at all, right? In Ulster, instead of dull, so dull means going. Instead of the word dull for going, they say this word. But in quick speech, what looks like two syllables is shortened to one syllable, and it really sounds like they're saying a form of the word dull. I would have pronounced this word as gwail. But no, apparently gull. Tame gull. Gwail comes from the word go or gov, which means take. So same in English. You can say I'm going to the shop, or I'm taking off to the shop. A rocket ship takes off. It's the same as a rocket ship going. So yes, that's an example of a level 4 difference. Completely different word, not related at all. Another one you might hear, the word for Y between the dialects. So going, Munster, Connacht, Ulster again. In Munster you get Connacht, Connacht, Cain Fa, and Ulster, Cathige, which your man said in Speaking Irish as well. Really, really highly recommend that podcast again. It's super simple, super great resource. And last but not least, you will hear this as well. The word for, oh my god, it's the word for as well. In Munster, Connacht and Ulster, you get leis, freshen, and fosta. Fosta is a really Ulster word. I can't get over it. I always make fun of Ulster Irish, but it's actually quite interesting. So that's it. In case I reference it in the future, you know what I'm talking about. I invented this 4-level way of talking about the difference between the dialects. So sounds that are different across the board, sounds that are different in specific contexts, usually based off of the spelling of multiple letters together, words that are clearly related but are pronounced slightly differently for no reason, and 4 when dialects use completely different words that aren't related at all. There you go. Watch out, basically, is the message of this video. Everything can be different depending on the dialects, and that's why it's so important. Again, I know I said it in the last video like 10 times, but it's so important to choose a dialect. It's so much more interesting, it's so much more genuine, and you really get your money's worth. So yes, and remember as well, Connacht people are apparently a lot hungrier than Munster people. I think that's a famine reference, and I think that's really bad. Anyway, Shinne, Slán go fáil, Ámór agus go naidrí libse. See you in the next one. Slán.